We've all been there. 5 seconds before the detective reveals who the killer is, the television freezes. It's not paused, it's frozen. And that little circle starts spinning around as though the TV is trying to decide whether we're worthy enough to see how the story ends. The Wi-Fi has gone out at the worst possible moment. But why it went out does not need to remain a mystery. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what Wi-Fi is, how to connect a device, what 2.4 and 5 gigahertz mean, the difference between home and public networks, and where to start when something stops working. Promise you there's no engineering degree required for this. Welcome back, guys. I'm Rico. I'm still the old guy in a chair. So, what is a network? Well, a network essentially is a group of devices that can communicate with one another. At home, that can be things like your phone, your computer, your tablet, even a refrigerator that wants to send you messages because it feels like it's part of the family now and wants to join in on the fun. Most home networks have a modem and a router, although those two jobs may be combined into one device these days. The modem brings the internet service into your house, and the router shares that connection to all of your devices, okay? And it helps make sure that the information going back and forth gets to the correct device. Now, many devices connect with a cable, and others connect through the magic of Wi-Fi. And what is Wi-Fi? Well, it's the invisible conversation that's occurring between your device and the router, and it's using radio waves to have that conversation. The router connects those devices to the internet. And here's one of the most important takeaways from this lesson. Wi-Fi and the internet are not the same thing. Wi-Fi connects your device to the router. The router connects to the outside world or the internet. So that's why sometimes your phone will say it's connected to Wi-Fi, but nothing online is working. Or another way to think of this, is think of your driveway and a road. The driveway connects your car to the road, but imagine that a tree is blocking the road to the house. So your driveway is working perfectly. I mean, you can leave the garage, drive all the way to the end of the driveway, but once you get to the end of the driveway and turn onto the road, you can't go anywhere. Well, your Wi-Fi connection works a lot in the same way. Your device may be successful in getting to the router, which is the driveway in that scenario, but the internet service beyond the router, which is the road, may be blocked or unavailable. So when your device says it's connected to Wi-Fi, that only means that it's reached the router. It does not always mean that the router has a working connection to the internet. And that distinction becomes very important when we discuss troubleshooting. Okay, every Wi-Fi network has a name, and you may hear it referred to as the network name or possibly SSID. Now, most routers and Wi-Fi networks have an original name and password, and they're often printed on a label on the bottom of the device or on the back or sometimes on the side. And here's a helpful hint. Grab your phone and take a quick picture of that label because it'll make your life easier, I promise. So, bottom line, check the label. Sometimes the answer to your connection problem has been sitting on the bottom of your router the whole time and you just never knew to look there. Okay, now to connect a phone or a tablet, something like that, and this is where having that picture makes your life 100 times easier. Find settings and open it, select Wi-Fi, then choose your network name and enter the password. And remember, passwords are case sensitive. Then click connect or tap connect. Connecting a computer works almost identically. Like on a Windows machine, you look in the lower right-hand corner and you'll see either like the Wi-Fi signal, the network icon symbol, or possibly a globe. And on a Mac, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll usually see a Wi-Fi signal or a network symbol. Sorry. You just click on those, find the appropriate network, type in the password, click connect, and everything should be golden from there on out. Now remember, passwords are case sensitive, so capital letters and lowercase letters are treated differently. And you need to also watch out for characters that look alike, like the number 0 and the letter O, or the number 1 and a capital I or a lowercase l. Those trip up people all the time. I mean, if your password is rejected, slow down, double check your password, and enter it again very carefully. Honestly, most Wi-Fi connection problems are not caused by a group of hackers. Sometimes they're simply that the person types the password in wrong. You've probably heard of 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, and you go, what the hell is that? When you look at the network names, you may see two similar names or network names on there, but one ends with like 2.4 gigahertz and one ends with 5 or 5G. Now, to be clear, the 5G is not the same as your cellular phone service. Completely different technology. And here's the simple way to remember what each one does and the differences. 2.4 goes farther, 5 is usually faster. 2.4 signal is often better for devices farther away from the router or devices that are behind several walls or on different floors of a building. 5 gigahertz signals are faster, but it doesn't travel nearly as far. And it can be better for like streaming TV, video calls, or devices located near the router. So, rule of thumb, close to the router, use 5. Farther away, 2.4. And many new routers choose the frequency automatically. In that case, just let the router make the decision. It needs something to do besides blink, right? Your home network is generally the better place to conduct private activities, but it still needs to be set up securely. If you're still using the original network name and passwords, the ones on the label, you better consider changing them. Your internet company or a router manufacturer will usually have provided either an app through the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, or possibly a little card that's a setup page. Simply follow the instructions that came with the device, or use the manufacturer's official directions. The screens may vary, but look for sections labeled like Wi-Fi or wireless settings, network name or SSID, password, and security. Now, you don't need to understand every setting. There are only 3 main things that we want to concentrate on: changing the network name, changing the password, and checking the security settings. So, before we change a network name, we need to choose a name that doesn't automatically identify us. So don't use your full name or your address or anything like that. Because it's a radio signal being broadcast, so people living nearby will be able to see it, and you don't need to be introducing yourself to the entire neighborhood all at once. So instead of using something like Rico on Main Street, use something that's more general, like Blue Cactus, or my personal favorite, Obi-Lan Kenobi. Next, we're going to change the password. And your router has 2 different passwords. The Wi-Fi password is the one that connects your devices to the router, and the administrator password is the one that allows someone like you to make changes on the router. So we're going to change both if they're still using the original information. And please don't use the same password for both. Now, for the Wi-Fi password, you should use one that's at least 15 characters long. A long phrase made from several unrelated words can be a lot easier to remember than a short collection of random characters. Avoid names, and especially avoid telephone numbers and obvious choices such as password 123. And please don't use a password that protects something important like your email or your bank account or any other important service. As an aside, ask me about using your telephone number for a password. I have a great story about that one. Lastly, let's check the security settings. Now, if your router and your devices support it, WPA3 Personal is what is the most secure and the newest and the latest greatest. Now, if you have an older device or your router doesn't support it, WPA2 is perfectly acceptable. Whatever you do, don't select open or no security, and avoid using WEP or WPA because those older settings no longer offer any type of adequate protection. Now, make sure you save your changes when you're finished, otherwise everything will revert back to how it was when you started, and you get to do this process all over again. Now, after you make these changes, your Wi-Fi connectivity will disappear for a few minutes. Don't panic. I mean, you just changed the network name and password, so the devices that were connected to it can no longer see that network or connect to it. So you're going to have to go back and reconnect each device using the new network name and password. Now, keep this information somewhere secure, like use a password manager or a notepad that you keep in a secure location, not on a sticky note attached to the front of the router. Now, your home Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi at a coffee shop are not the same thing. They may look the same, but they're not. I mean, basically on both, you select the network name, you connect your phone, and suddenly you're online, right? But that's where the similarity ends. I mean, your home network is like having a conversation in your living room. A public network is like having that same conversation in the middle of a crowded restaurant. Um, most people are minding their own business, but you still might not want to announce how much cash you're carrying on you at any given time. I mean, public Wi-Fi is available in a lot of places, hotels, airports, coffee shops, and hospitals. And it's, very useful for checking like directions, reading the news, or just passing the time while you're waiting for your appointment that was scheduled for 10 o'clock, but is now apparently sometime next Thursday. Now, let me start by saying public Wi-Fi is not automatically dangerous. It's simply less private. I mean, you don't know who created the network, you don't know who's connected to that network, and you don't know how well it's protected. So imagine this. You walk into a coffee shop and you see a couple of names pop up, network names pop up on your phone. One says Main Street Coffee, the other one says Main Street Coffee Free Wi-Fi. I mean, they both look believable and credible, but one could have been created by somebody sitting nearby. So before connecting, ask an employee for the correct network name. Now, once you are connected, think about what you're going to be doing on the network. I mean, checking the weather, reading the news, or looking at restaurant hours, stuff like that is fine. But doing banking, paying bills, even shopping, or entering any sensitive personal information, maybe you better save that for your home network. You may also notice HTTPS at the beginning of website addresses. S stands for secured. HTTPS means that the connection between your device and the website is encrypted and protected while the information is being sent back and forth. But that does not mean or guarantee that the website itself is honest. Fake websites can also use it. So before entering any private or payment information, check the address in the browser bar carefully and make sure you're on the company's official website. And when you're finished using the public network, disconnect from it. And you can also tell your device to forget the network so you don't automatically reconnect next time you walk by. I mean, the easiest rule to remember all this is use your home network for your private business. Use public networks for public activities. Reading the weather while you're waiting at the airport, that's fine. Logging into your bank account while you're surrounded by 3,000 strangers, not fine. Now, before we start troubleshooting, there's one more term you may see on an instruction screen or hear from a technical support person, and that is IP address. Now, you don't need to memorize the technical definition. Okay, when any device joins a network, the router assigns that device what's called an IP address. And you can think of it as the temporary mailing device or mailing address of that device inside the network. Now, your router may be communicating with several other phones or computers or laptops and printers and what have you. The IP address helps the router send the correct information to the correct device. It is not, and I repeat, not your home's street address. It's simply part of a system that helps devices find and communicate with each other. And that is enough for you to understand the term when a support person or an instruction screen or your know-it-all nephew mentions it. Let's use what we've learned to figure out what may have happened when the Wi-Fi stopped working. Okay, let's start by asking one basic question. Is the problem affecting one device or everything around it? So, easiest way to find out is check a second device. If your phone will not connect, but the TV and your computer will, the phone is your problem child. So on that device, go in and make sure the Wi-Fi is turned on. Make sure you're connected to the correct network. Re-enter the password if you need to. Move closer to the router if you need to try these things. So a weak signal will kick you off of Wi-Fi a lot of times. Or restart the device. If none of your devices can connect, look at the router and your internet service. Go to the router, unplug the power cord, wait about 30 seconds, plug it back in, and give it several minutes to restart. But only unplug the power cord. Don't press the small reset button or unplug other cables. If you press the reset button, that can erase all of the router's settings and turn a 2-minute problem into an all-afternoon project. I mean, if your devices show that they are connected to the Wi-Fi but nothing online works, remember the driveway and the fallen tree analogy. Your device may be successfully connected to the router, just as your car can reach the end of the driveway, but the internet service beyond the router may be unavailable, just as the fallen tree is blocking the road. The network inside your home may be working perfectly, while the internet connecting you to the outside world is not working or is just down. So, check your provider's app or their service status page, or call them. You'd be surprised at the number of people that forget or just won't do that. And ask them if there is an outage in your area. Now, I understand that Wi-Fi sounds complicated because there's all these terms. SSID, IP address, GHz, WPA2, WPA3, etc., etc. And you don't need to memorize every technical term. You need to understand a few basic ideas, like your devices communicate with a router. The router connects to the internet. Wi-Fi and the internet are not the same thing. Your home network is generally a better place for you to conduct private and important business. Public Wi-Fi is useful, but be careful with sensitive information when you're using it. And when something fails, check one possibility at a time instead of pressing every button, disconnecting every cable in sight. I mean, the goal here is not for you to become a network engineer. I just want you to know enough to take the next logical, sensible step. I mean, technology should give you access, information, and independence. It should not feel like you have to ask somebody's permission to use it. Now you know what to check. You know what not to press. And most importantly, you know that you can handle this. As always, guys, I'm still Rico. I'm still the old guy in a chair. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could use a little help with their Wi-Fi. Leave your questions and comments down below, and I'll see you next time.